Utah Technical Conference in docket 205702. This is the final technical conference presenting our integrated resource plan that was filed on June 12th with the commission. So today, I think we only have one main presenter, that's Will Schwarzenbach. So he'll walk us through a summary of the integrated resource plan. And then we've also got some subject matter experts with us in case there are any questions. So we've got Adam Del Toro, Jason McGee, and Richard Kaiser from our engineering group. We've got Dave Landward and Jordan Stevenson from our regulatory group, and then we've got Mike Orton from our energy efficiency group. So you have all been muted as you join the conference, but I would definitely want to, feel free to ask questions. We want to have an open dialogue here. So just as a reminder, if to unmute yourself, there's two options. You can go up to the top in the menu under participant. You can unmute yourself. And then also down at the bottom of the screen, notice there's some little buttons. The far left button is a microphone. If you click on that, you'll unmute yourself. So I will, with that, I will turn the time over to Will.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and staying healthy. I'm here to go over the results of our 2020-2021 IRP. And if anyone, as Kelly said, if anyone has any questions at any point, feel free to stop me. If I don't notice you, or if I can't hear you or something, just start waving your hands or something and let me know that you need my attention. I'll try and pay attention to everything. So yeah, as we get started here, as Kelly said, we have subject matter experts on here. So I do not know everything about everything that is in here. I kind of oversee the process, but the subject matter experts are really the ones that put this together and make it happen. So I thought to start off by thanking all of them who helped put this together, and also thank the division, the office, the commission for continuous feedback. I think we're trying to work to make this document better each year, and it's kind of a growing document, a dynamic document that I think really does get better as we go. So please keep it up with and we'll try and incorporate all that feedback in, and hopefully we'll get it to a point where it is a perfect document in every way. So that's our goal. I'd like to start off by moving my slide if I can. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. I'd like to start off by just recapping some of the technical conferences that we've held this year. On March 9th, we had one that went over the Utah IRP standards and guidelines, and we also reviewed the 2019 IRP order. In that meeting, we gave a brief update on our LNG project that is ongoing, and we also talked about our company's sustainability initiatives. April 23rd, we had another technical conference. In that conference, we talked about the heating season review. We talked about system integrity and also fuel lines. On May 12th, we held a third technical conference, and that one we talked about our distribution action plan project details. So we gave some information on that. We went over our long-term planning. We discussed future rural expansion projects, and we also talked about future STEP program projects. And then we filed our IRP on June 12th this year, and hopefully you've all had a chance to at least review it in some fashion, and we're meeting today to answer any questions you may have. Starting off, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go pretty much section by section through the IRP, just giving a brief highlights from each section. I'm not going over all the details in every section, but we're just going to talk about some brief highlights. And if you have any questions on that section, I recommend you ask it during while we're there. You can always go back, but I think that way will work out the best, and we'll have probably the subject matter expert answer the question if I'm not able to. So here you see our graph of customer and gas demand forecast for in the 2020-2021 IRP. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a decline for the next couple of years, and then growing back up and remaining steady again after 23 and 24. And I believe that that decline is the economic slowdown that we're kind of seeing right now due to the ongoing pandemic. This next graph is one we always include in there and always does get some questions. But this graph is really showing two different things. The yellow and green bars are showing the past 5 years of our send out day over the past 5 years. And then the red and blue bars are showing our firm peak day demand forecast for the next few years. I think it's 10 years there. So the difference there being the highest actual day is based on actuals, actual temperatures, actual usage. The blue and the red are based on the 5-degree mean. So our peak day, what's expected to be our demand on a peak day. So for next heating season, you can see our peak day of firm sales is 1.232 million decatherms, in addition to another 467,000 decatherms of firm transportation. So this is just firm, and it is our peak day forecast. So I'll pause for a second if there's any questions on either of these graphs or anything else that was in the customer gas demand forecast section. All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to.
I guess, Will, this is Artie. I guess not a question, but just an observation that the forecast, the firm peak looks like it's probably about 42% higher than the average, rough average of the past actuals. Is that correct?
That is, it is, but again, that's just a function of weather.
Okay. I mean, I do have my gas stove on down here in the basement right now because it's colder than heck up here in Huntsville today. So I'm doing my part.
I was gonna say, I've had my heat on the past couple of days as well, so. All right.
I just want to add something. So I think the red and blue bar is based on our design day, which at Salt Lake would be a -5 degrees, right, Will?
Yes.
And then the yellow and the green would be based on the average coldest temperatures that we've had for the last 5 years, which is, I don't know off the top of my head, by chance, Will, what those have been. I think they've been above 0.
I was gonna say, it's been nowhere near -5.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna try as we move forward to kind of identify which slide number I'm on. So we were on slide number 4 with that graph. We're gonna move ahead and look at slide 5, which is our system capabilities and constraints. As stated here, our distribution system meets our current design day needs. So our feeder line system and our supply contracts are adequate. There's a graph showing on here some of the primary pressure locations in our main system and what those drop to on a peak day. The section has a lot of these graphs in it that show kind of pressures throughout the area and give an example of what pressures would look like during that peak day event, and if there's any pressure problems, those are identified. Some of those projects that have been identified to address some of those constraints are Rose Park Gate Station, Linden High Pressure Regulator Station, Feeder Line 55 extension, Feeder Line 133 reinforcement, and some improvements to the Saratoga Gate Station. Also in this section, we discussed long-term planning. That was something that we met and discussed, and it was requested to include in here. So we've included that section in here. Hopefully that's what you were looking for. That is a high-level look at some of the projects we expect to be a little further down the road, but not necessarily to the point where they're designed or anything like that, just kind of a high-level look at things that are a little further out. Any questions on this section? All right, moving ahead to slide 6. This is an overview of our distribution system action plan, starting with the high pressure projects. So this is a list of projects that we do have planned. Most of these already have estimates and revenue requirements associated with them. All the projects in here should include descriptions of the alternatives and what we plan to do, and a little bit of an engineering description of what the project is. Any questions on the high pressure projects before I move on to the other things in the distribution action plan? All right, next up is the rest of the distribution system action plan, starting with the proposed plant projects. We have one of those. I think most of you are familiar with our on-system LNG facility that is planned. We give some more detail of that in the section. We also discuss our intermediate high pressure projects, some of our larger IHP projects, including the belt main replacement and replacement of aging infrastructure that's not part of the tracker. So that's highlighted in here. We briefly discuss master meters, and we also talk about rural expansion and some of the projects that we're doing for rural expansion here in Utah. So are there any questions on slide 7 before we move on?
Yeah, Will, again, this is Artie. I haven't looked ahead in the slides. Are we planning on discussing these items today, or you're just pointing them out?
Nope, we're just pointing them out. We're not going to go through any individual detail items unless you want to. We have, again, the experts on here that can answer any questions.
Maybe just the highlights. I'm just interested in what you're planning on discussing in the IRP about master meters.
Yeah, so
Kelly, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so Artie, that was there's not much in the IRP on master meters, but it was, if you recall, the tech conference that we had, I think it was two tech conferences ago, where we talked about some of the issues we were facing with mobile home parks and master meters, and just the compliance issues of apartment complex owners and mobile home park owners, that once they have those string of meters or master meters with a fuel line in between, they're responsible for taking care of those and being in compliance with federal regulations. And just some of the collaboration that we had with Alzadeh's group and the division to try to improve some of those situations.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right, moving on to slide 8, we discuss integrity management, the integrity management section. We give here some of the projected miles that we are going to address and some of the dollars associated with those projects. We give updates on the mega rule, the plastic pipe rule, and valve installation and minimum rupture detection standards rules. We also discuss industry and company best practices that we're doing in terms of integrity management. Are there any questions for anyone on the integrity management section? All right, hearing none, I'm going to move to slide 9 and discuss our environmental review. Here we discuss the fact that DU is committed to compliance with all environmental laws and regulations, so we discuss some of those. We also talk about our conservation efforts associated with having a positive impact on the environment. Our estimated savings is discussed here quickly in terms of our ThermWise program. That's elaborated more on in the energy efficiency section, but we do briefly talk about it here. We also are really excited to announce in here that by 2050, Dominion Energy will achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions. So we talk about that goal briefly in here. It's elaborated on more in the sustainability section coming up here, but we were excited to include that in this section this year. And are there any questions on our environmental review? All right, hearing none, I'm going to move forward to slide 10. This section, the purchased gas section, we give a history of kind of pricing on our purchased gas, and we talk about our balanced portfolio and how approximately 50.6 million decatherms this year is part of our supply plan, and we kind of give some details on that. So we discuss our RFP in this section, so if there's any questions on that, would be a good time. Are there any questions on purchased gas for the year?
Will, this is Doug. I've got a question on your purchased gas.
Sure.
Is there on the purchased gas, do you have price locks on that, or is it volume locks? Or on any of it?
Right now, we do not. So are you asking about hedging?
Yes.
We do not have any of this hedged other than our physical hedge of cost of service. We are putting together a potential proposal to start hedging some of this, and we would value your feedback on that if you'd like to be incorporated in that discussion.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome. We'll follow up with you on that, Doug. Are there any other questions on the purchased gas? All right, moving forward to our cost of service gas section, we discuss what our level of cost of service gas will be, and it's going to be forecasted to be about 63 million decatherms. That would be 54 the demand. I know this is a number Doug has been watching closely, but it will be 54% of that forecasted demand for the 2020-2021 IRP year. Actually difficult to say. And if you note, our cost of service production is continuing to decline in the forecast that we went over. Our drilling plans are included in here. Wexpro plans on completing to production 14 wells this year. The focus will be on the Trail Field and the Vermilion Basin. For 2021 through 2024, the planned net wells are 18, 18, 18, and 17 respectively. So it's staying pretty consistent over those 4 following years. So it does go up a little bit, but not dramatic, and then it stays that same pace for about 4 years. Are there any questions on our?
Will, this is Tricia. What is a net well?
Well, the reason they're called net wells is because sometimes we're only a partial owner in the well. So maybe 2 wells where we're half owners will equal 1 net well. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on cost of service? All right, I'm going to move on to slide 12, which discusses our gathering, transportation, and storage contracts. We talk about our transportation capacity and how our contracted capacity is adequate to meet design day demands. One thing of note is our contract 2945 has been in Evergreen for a couple years, and we've been having some discussions with DEQP about possibly extending that so that it's not an evergreen. That is a really good contract for us. It's important to move our gas away from the Vermilion Basin, which is a key area that we're able to get a lot of our gas, including cost of service production. It's also a seasonal contract, so it helps offset the price there. So that's a good contract that we're looking at extending. We also discussed firm peaking services. In the past few years, we've had peaking services with both Kern River Gas Transmission and Dominion Energy Questar Pipeline. and we found those to be the most cost-effective and reliable solution to meeting those peak hour demands. The peak hour needs are still an industry hot topic throughout the country, and different companies are trying to find different solutions, and we feel those are a very cost-effective solution to that. We're looking at our available options for the next heating season and the next few after that, and we are thinking about or working on renewing those contracts similar to what they've been the past couple of years. Any questions on those contracts, gathering, transportation, and storage? All right, hearing none, I'm going to move to slide 13. This was a new section last year, but it's a section that we're definitely very excited about. It's our sustainability section. This goes back to that goal that I discussed a couple minutes ago about our net zero emissions and how we have a goal of net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. We provide an overview of Dominion Energy's programs regarding that goal. And we also provide some details on what we're doing at here in the West, in particular about what programs we have to work towards that goal. So methane reduction programs discussed, sustainability initiatives are discussed, and what Wexpro's sustainability initiatives are also discussed in here. Any questions on the sustainability section?
Hey, Will, this is Mike Orton. I thought maybe if I could just jump in for a second and just let the group know one of the things that's contained in this section is the first mention, I think, in the IRP of our Green Therm program. And for those of you who may not have been as involved in the regulatory process on that, just a reminder, that's our voluntary customer program where customers can purchase green attributes in addition to their that would be in addition to their current gas bill. So we talked about that for the first time. I will mention, I think we don't provide any numbers. I think it was too early. The program launched in early 2020, so it was too early when we wrote the IRP this year to give any numbers, but we are seeing very strong participation through the first 6 months of the year. We have, I think now it's over 600 participants in 6 months, so we're encouraged about the results there.
Great, thanks, Mike. Any questions on that or anything else in this section before we move on? All right, we'll move to slide 14, which hopefully Mike doesn't go far because this is our energy efficiency program section. We provide the results from 2019 and also expectations of our programs for 2020. Any questions on the energy efficiency programs for Mike Gordon? All right, moving on. This is actually our last section here, but it's definitely the highlight for me anyway. This is our model results section. This goes over all of the send out modeling that we've done for this year. So our linear optimization modeling, our Monte Carlo analysis is all in here. What I'm showing here is the peak date slide that shows how we will add up our supply sources with our spot gas, our cost of service, aquifers, clay basin, baseload, peaking, and our Spire Storage West, how all that will add up to meet our peak design day need. But there's a lot of other things in this section regarding how the model shows that we'll meet different day needs and how our flexibility is. So are there any questions on any of the models? All right, hearing none, we'll move to slide 16, which is just our general questions slide, and open it up for any general questions, comments, concerns, anything that anyone may have. I hear silence. This could be a record for me giving a presentation if we're done in 25 minutes. Somebody needs to mark that down, I think. I've spent more than that on one slide before.
It will be noted, Will.
All right, well, I guess that's all I have for everyone, unless Kelly has some more.
No, yeah, Will's right. We've given him a hard time because he's gone 40 minutes on one slide before, so he might be turning over a new leaf today. So if there are no other questions, we will give you all a time refund, and appreciate your participation today. And everyone have a happy and safe Independence Day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks,